सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृतं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We have read this yesterday, but I thought this is important. There are few paragraphs to be read. Clarification on what is karma, karma yoga, Sankhya yoga. Should I repeat it or just read two last paragraphs?
Yeah, it's better you repeat it, Pranam.
Yeah.
In fact, from the place where he talks of karma yoga.
Yeah. The difference between karma yoga and
Yoga
Sankhya yoga.
Yeah.
The difference between karma yoga and Sankhya yoga. Moksha Shastra can be viewed from two standpoints with reference to two possible lifestyles. Karma yoga and Sankhya yoga or sannyasa. Both are meant for moksha alone, because the difference between karma and karma yoga must be clearly understood. Krishna talked about it. Doing karma for the sake of self-purification is karma yoga. It indicates that the person has discrimination, viveka, and knows that he or she wants moksha, because to gain moksha, one requires a certain mind. And to gain that mind, one performs actions, karmas, with a certain attitude. So, and to gain that mind, one performs actions, karmas, with a certain attitude. That attitude converts it into yoga. Merely doing karma is not yoga. So doing karma with a certain attitude is karma yoga. For the sake of self-purification is karma yoga. For example, there is a set of prayers called Nitya Karmas that are to be done daily. One of these prayers is called Sandhya Vandana. Vandana means salutations or prayer. And Sandhya refers to the three times of day that the prayer is to be performed. In the morning as the sun rises, at noon, and in the evening as the sun sets. The literal meaning of Sandhya is a time when two periods of the time meet. For example, it indicates the time when the day has not yet begun because the sun has not risen, but the night has already rolled away. Similarly, another Sandhya is when the sun has already set, but the night has not yet come. The third Sandhya is in the middle, exactly at noon, neither forenoon nor afternoon. These nitya karmas can be done for the sake of some result later or for the sake of purifying the mind, antakarna shuddhi. So these nitya karmas can be done for the sake of some result later or for the sake of purifying mind, purifying of the mind, antakarna shuddhi. Why would anyone want antakarna shuddhi? Because the mind, the antakarna, is necessary for gaining self knowledge. Therefore, karma is performed as an indirect means for moksha, to prepare the mind for gaining the knowledge. When the prayer is done for antakarna shuddhi, the person has no other result in mind. He or she only asks that the Lord be pleased with the karma and bless him or her with a purified mind. Karma may be performed out of joy or out of concept of duty as a prayer. When it is performed as a prayer for the sake of antakarna shuddhi and moksha, it becomes a yoga.
Can you just repeat the last two lines, the previous two lines?
Yeah. Karma is performed as an indirect means for moksha, to prepare the mind for gaining the knowledge. When the prayer is done for antakarna shuddhi, the person has no other result in mind. He or she only asks that the Lord be pleased with the karma and bless him or her with purified mind. Karma may be performed out of joy or out of a concept of duty as a prayer. When it is performed as a prayer for the sake of antakarna shuddhi and moksha, it becomes a yoga.
So sorry, we'll just park it here. So this is the yajna bhava that China was mentioning. Everything becomes a prayer. So every action, when it's done with an attitude or as an offering to the divine, and whatever the result that comes, we accept it as prasada. That becomes the attitudinal shift. And it's performed out of joy as a prayer.
Or out of concept of duty.
Yeah,
Yeah, because many times we keep saying that I'm not ritualistic, I'm just spiritual. So we forgo some of these rituals, you know, uh,
correct.
that actually, and I just heard the other day on somebody saying that uh, people these days don't follow any rituals or nitya karmas these days, saying that I don't believe in it or um, these are outdated things. He said, if someone forces you to drink poison, you would deny that, right? You don't want it, you don't want it, you would say you don't believe in it or whatever, and you deny it. But at the end, he makes you drink, and it works. It works on you. It is a poison. So whether you believed or not, or whether you wanted or not, the poison did its work. In the same way, when you perform these nitya karmas or these rituals, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, the it will work for you. It was nice way of putting things. So karma may be performed out of joy or out of a concept of duty as a prayer. When it is performed as a prayer for the sake of antakarna shuddhi and moksha, it becomes a yoga. But here it says you have to perform it with the intention of antakarna shuddhi and moksha. Then it becomes a yoga.
Yeah. And not with an idea of saying, oh, if I do this, I'll get punya, I'll get swarga.
Mm.
Then it becomes, then it's not so much a yoga, it only becomes a ritual, like karma kanda. But
Mm.
when you're doing it with an intention of just purifying your mind, you're doing it because it is ordained by the Shastra. And if you did not do this, for instance, how Nitya Karma helps us purify the mind is at least in that time that you're doing Nitya Karma, you're not engaging in anything which is not worthwhile. And you're doing it as a daily thing. Nitya Karma is something that you do on a day-to-day basis. Because if not the Nitya Karma, your mind would be engaged in maybe something else which will pull you towards the wrong side or the opposite side. So therefore, for the second lifestyle, even a sannyasi has to act. Not that sannyasi does not act. Action happens in both, but then sannyasi,
Just a hold on, please. You can discuss. I just come.
yeah. So sannyasi is relieved from all the ritualistic nitya karma and everything. He's only pursuing knowledge to the exclusion of all else. Whereas a karma yogi, his lifestyle is that of action, in the sense he still has to purify his antakarna. And in order to purify the antakarna, he performs action with a shift in the attitude. Every act he does, all the swakarma, nitya karma, is done out of joy and as a prayer, as an offering. That is why even when we do our sadhana, whether it's yoga, meditation, pranayama, even that needs to be done with that sense of, with a prayerful sense. That's why the honor and respect that Patanjali talks of. Again, the basis is to get rid of ragadveshas.
A number of topics come under Karma Yoga, including prayer, devotion, samadhi, and Ashtanga Yoga for the sake of samadhi, all of which are stated in the Shankara's Bhasha to this verse. The verse itself reveals that there is a division or difference between the two subject matters, Sankhya and Karma Yoga. If this division is not clear, the entire Gita will appear to be full of contradictions and the listener will be confused. Whereas if the division is clear, understanding is possible. The listener will know what is meant when it is said that for the sannyasis there is only Jnana Yoga, and for others who are also seekers, Karma Yoga is the means for gaining moksha. The number of topics which come under Karma Yoga are prayer, devotion, samadhi, and Ashtanga Yoga for the sake of samadhi. And there are two different subject matters, that is Sankhya and Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga is the means for gaining moksha. The subject matter of this knowledge is Sankhya, a discriminative presentation of what is real and what is not real. Every step of the unfoldment is based on discrimination. For example, the body, Deha, is subject to death, whereas one who dwells in the body, Dehi, is not, and so on. The discrimination is presented because people usually think that when the Deha is destroyed, the Dehi is also destroyed. When one is not mistaken for the other, there is discrimination, and it is this knowledge that has been given with the reference to the reality of the Atma. Thus Krishna said, so far whatever I have taught you is with the reference to Sankhya. Sankhye esha buddhihi maya abhihita tubhyam. So subject matter of this knowledge is Sankhya and a discriminative presentation of what is real and what is not real. What can knowledge do? And what does knowledge do? It removes ignorance. Knowledge is the cause for the removal of ignorance. It cannot do anything else. Ignorance itself is the problem. It being the cause for false pursuits and sorrow, that is samsara. Ignorance itself is the problem, it being the cause for false pursuits and sorrow, samsara. To think that heaven will be an answer to all my problems is delusion, moha. Moha is thinking that sorrow can be removed by reaching somewhere or gaining this or that. Knowledge of the reality of the Atma removes this ignorance and therefore is the direct cause for moksha. So, moha is thinking that sorrow can be removed by reaching somewhere or gaining this or that. And knowledge of the reality, Atma, removes this ignorance. What can Karma Yoga do? Is there also an indirect cause for moksha? The Bhashya says that there is, and that will be taught. That there are two different topics is clear. Krishna himself says, Sankhye buddhihi abhihita yoge tu imam shrunu. This wisdom with the reference to self-knowledge has so far been told to you. This wisdom with reference to self-knowledge has so far been told to you. Now listen to the wisdom of yoga. Shankara deals with this point thoroughly because even in this day, even in his day, there was a great deal of controversy about whether the Gita Shastra talks about karma, jnana, or the synthesis of the two. There were many such notions in one form or other. Therefore, Bhashyakara spends a considerable amount of time here pointing out the distinction and then saying, now listen to what I am going to say about Karma Yoga. Any discipline is useful because it helps one gain a certain composure, a certain mastery over the opposites, as we saw in the preceding verse. Therefore, all disciplines are called yoga. This composure is necessary for the mind to be able to receive the knowledge. To gain the composure, you require karma yoga. Karma yoga therefore becomes an indirect means, not a direct means for gaining the knowledge. So here it says any discipline is useful to gain the certain composure, and this composure is called yoga. This discipline, therefore, all the disciplines are required for karma yoga, and this is an indirect means to for gaining the knowledge. You cannot say, I will take karma yoga and you take jnana yoga, and we will both reach the same end. It is not like that. If karma if karma yoga is presented as a means for gaining the knowledge, that will destroy ignorance. One may ask why the study of Shastra alone cannot do that. The reason is that study of Shastra is capable of delivering the goods only when the Antakarna is ready. Therefore, preparing the Antakarna is what is meant by Karma Yoga and is what is going to be discussed here. So to gain knowledge, you need to have a Antakarna Shuddhi. And for that, Karma Yoga. In praise of Karma Yoga, Krishna praised Karma Yoga, telling Arjuna that it was as important as Jnana. Karma Yoga is not something less than Jnana, since without it, Jnana will not take place. To create a certain value for Karma Yoga in Arjuna, Krishna praised it in this way. Krishna told Arjuna that the knowledge of Karma Yoga would enable him to destroy the bondage of karma. Karma bandham prahasyasi. So Krishna told Arjuna that the knowledge of Karma Yoga would enable him to destroy the bondage of karma. Karma here means dharma adharma, which means punya papa, good and bad actions, that alone bind the individual. Therefore, it is called karma bandha, the bondage of karma. The karma itself is the bondage which is destroyed by knowledge made possible by karma yoga. So, the karma itself is the bondage and which is destroyed by knowledge made possible by karma yoga. Now, a question may arise here, that is, knowledge destroys only ignorance, ajnana. How is the karma destroyed? That is because with the destruction of ignorance, doership is destroyed, causing all karmas to fall apart. This is very important. The karma itself is the bondage, which is destroyed by knowledge and which is made possible by karma yoga. Now, a question may arise here. What is the knowledge that is knowledge destroys ignorance, ajnana? How is the karma destroyed? That is because with the destruction of ignorance, doership is also destroyed, causing all the karmas to fall apart. Thus, both sannyasa and karma yoga play a role in destruction of samsara. But the difference between the two must be clearly understood. Otherwise, it will be said that there are various paths, such as the four paths advanced by some: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. It is also incorrect to say that there are there are as many paths as there are people. So these four are not the different paths to reach the our goal. It's not right to say that. These are not different paths: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. It is also incorrect to say that there are as many paths as there are people. Addressing this lack of clarity in understanding, Shankara says that because of the grace of Ishvara, you find yourself with purified mind, the teaching, and the teacher. So, only with the grace of Ishvara, you will find yourself with purified mind, the teaching, and the teacher. And because of all of this, you gain the knowledge. He says, being endowed with this Karma Yoga, Ishwar Prasada Nimitya Jnana Prapteha. Ishwar Prasada Nimitya Jnana Prapteha. By gaining the knowledge by the grace of Lord, you will get out of bondage of karma. So by gaining the knowledge by the grace of Lord, you will get out of the bondage of karma. A life of karma yoga prepares the mind and the knowledge releases one from bondage. But to say here through karma yoga one is released from bondage is to praise karma yoga, which is the
Manana, Jai
indirect.
Gurudev. Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the previous paragraph
Yeah.
before that thing that says four paths?
Hmm. Thus, both sannyasa and karma yoga play a role in destruction of samsara. But the difference between the two must be clearly understood. Otherwise, it will be said that there are various paths, such as the four paths advanced by some: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. It is also incorrect to say that there are as many paths as there are people.
Before this, there were a few lines, no, about from karma means dharma, dharma.
Huh.
Yeah.
Karma here means dharma, adharma, which means punya papa, the good and the bad actions that alone bind the individual. Therefore, it is called karma bandha. So, actions, bad or good actions, which will bind you in karma bandha, which is called karma bandha, the bondage of karma. The karma itself is the bondage, which is destroyed by knowledge made possible by karma yoga. This is very profound, I feel.
Yeah, this was the line I was wanting
Yeah.
to go through one more time. It's because you're using karma with an attitude of karma yoga to release the very bondage of karma.
Mm. Because once you get the knowledge, that doership is destroyed.
Mm. So, a karma yogi is not someone who just does karma with an attitude of karma yoga. He is also pursuing knowledge.
Yeah, and that he will get only if the Antakarana Shuddhi has
Correct.
happened, and
Knowledge
then
will
only
not.
he can receive the knowledge.
Right,
So it is a means to get the knowledge.
right. Ultimate um, final solution to this whole samsara is knowledge, is jnana. But the means to get there are two lifestyles basically, like what Krishna put forward, sannyasa and karma yoga. So then there are no four different paths. Like people talk of hatha yoga, bhakti yoga, and things like that. All of that can be put up into karma yoga itself. So bhakti yoga is nothing but an aspect, an attitude of the karma yoga.
Yeah, here it says, no, somewhere.
Yeah, no, the next para says you cannot say I will take karma yoga and you take jnana yoga,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
I think if you can read that part one more time.
yeah. The same paragraph which I read, right?
The same paragraph, and you can continue from there.
Okay. Karma here means dharma, adharma, which means punya, papa, and good and bad actions that alone bind the individual. Therefore, it is called karma bandha, the bondage of karma. The karma itself is the bondage, which is destroyed by knowledge made possible by karma yoga. Now, a question may arise here, that is, knowledge destroys only ignorance, ajnana. How is the karma destroyed? That is because with the destruction of ignorance, doership is destroyed, causing all karmas to fall apart. Thus, both sannyasa and karma yoga play a role in destruction of samsara. But the difference between the two must be clearly understood. Otherwise, it will be said that there are various paths, such as the four paths advanced by some: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. It is also incorrect to say that there are as many paths as there are people. Addressing this lack of clarity in understanding, Shankara says that because of the grace of Ishvara, you find yourself with purified mind. This is again is very important. It's only with the grace of Ishvara you get the purified mind. The teaching and the teacher. And because of all of this, you gain the knowledge. He says, being endowed with this Karma Yoga, Ishwar Prasada Nimitta Jnana Prapteha.
Prapti.
Praptehi.
Prapta.
By gaining the knowledge by the grace of Lord, you will get out of bondage of karma. A life of Karma Yoga prepares the mind and the knowledge releases one from bondage. But to say here, through Karma Yoga, one is released from bondage is to praise Karma Yoga, which is the indirect means for moksha. To have the knowledge, you have to understand that I am Brahman. There is no other way. The Lord's grace, Ishwar Prasada, is in the form of Guru, the Shastra, and the teaching. The type of mind that is required and conducive circumstances as well. And to gain the knowledge, what all is needed is Lord's grace, Ishwar Prasada is, and it is in the form of Guru, the Shastra, the teaching, the type of mind that is required, and conducive circumstances as well. To have the knowledge, you have to understand that I am Brahman. There is no other way. The Lord's grace, Ishwar Prasada, is in the form of Guru, Shastra, that is teaching, the type of mind that is required, that is Antakarna Shuddhi, and conducive circumstances as well. It has been everyone's experience that there can be number of obstacles in any undertaking. In fact, by the time people come to this teaching, they have met with a lot of obstructions in life and have experienced a lot of pain. This is how they come to the teaching, and the obstructions continue. For this undertaking also, then the grace of Ishvara is required. Thus, one has to be prayerful. One yoga, two lifestyles. Karma yoga makes everything possible so that you can gain the knowledge which destroys the bondage of karma. So, Karma Yoga makes everything possible so that you can gain the knowledge which destroys the bondage of karma. How many yogas are there for moksha then? Only one, knowledge, jnana. But there are two lifestyles, Karma Yoga, living the life of Karma Yogi, and Sannyasa. So, only one yoga, that is Jnana Yoga, through which you will gain the knowledge of self and moksha. And this can be achieved by two lifestyles, that is Karma Yoga, living the life of Karma Yogi, and the other one is Sannyasa, living the life of renunciate. This is the vision of the Veda, the only vision that can account for the entire Shastra. And Shankara states it very clearly, presenting very well what Shastra says. Both lifestyles imply knowledge, and that knowledge is moksha. There is no doubt whatsoever here. To gain that knowledge, you require a properly prepared mind for which you require Bhagwan's grace. Therefore, you invoke the Lord's grace so that you have everything ready for gaining the knowledge. This is the only way to remove samsara bondage.
Rinal, can you repeat this para one more time? One yoga and.
Karma Yoga makes everything possible so that you can gain the knowledge which destroys the bondage of karma. So, Karma Yoga is done to gain the knowledge which will destroy the bondage of karma. How many yogas are there for moksha then? Only one, knowledge, jnana, jnana yoga. And there are two lifestyles, Karma Yoga, living the life of Karma Yogi, and the other one is Sannyasa, living the life of renunciate. This is the vision of the Veda, the only vision that can account for the entire Shastra. And Shankara states it very clearly, presenting very well what Shastra says. Both lifestyles, Karma Yoga and Sannyasa, both lifestyles imply knowledge, and that knowledge is moksha. There is no doubt whatsoever here. To gain that knowledge, you require properly prepared mind, for which you require Bhagwan's grace. Therefore, you invoke Lord's grace so that you have everything ready for gaining the knowledge. This is the only way to remove samsara bondage. Before discussing the two possible lifestyles, Krishna first praises Karma Yoga. Uh, need discussion or should I read further?
Jai Gurudev, uh, one thing like if you need Bhagwan's grace, then isn't it like it's a vice versa that you are doing your karmas uh, according to dharma, and then you are receiving that grace, and once you are receiving that grace, then you are preparing yourself for the moksha. So it is like ultimately what is important is that karma, the karma done with an attitude of a karma yogi, and as he advances, not holding that doership in it and doing just as his duty without any attachment with the result. That is that karma yogi attitude. And then he is having that Bhagwan's grace. And when he has that grace, he is he'll get a guru, he'll get the teachings, he will receive that platform in which he can further evolve. So the grace we ourselves are earning the grace, like doing our all our actions as a karma yogi. We ourselves are inviting that God's grace, isn't it so? Or am I thinking it some differently? Like I feel it's a vice versa, both. Because grace is that punya you are gathering. That punya is gathered only when you are doing with all the like seva, then duties in accordance to dharma, and the satsang, everything, like it is all the actions which are done with a sattvic in a sattvic mode, then we are achieving that grace. And once you achieve that grace, then you are receiving that all the facilities which are needed to to reach that goal of moksha.
Very right. And unless we have the grace of Ishvara, we will not be in such conducive circumstances also.
That is
Because
what
there would
I'm.
be many people who would be, there are so many people, but how many would even want to think of coming on to reading Bhagavad Gita, wanting to read it, wanting to know about it?
So that is what I'm saying. No, that
Mm.
it is our own actions. Like it is our own how we have lived in the past and how we are living now. What difference is making is our actions, prominently our actions done, which are inviting that grace. And
Correct.
because of our own actions, that grace is happening. And because of that grace happening, you are further getting uh, uh, things which are conducive for your evolve, for you to evolve. So
Correct.
no, so
Right.
it is, that is why we say that karma is pradhan. And karma, because doing karma we incur both punya and papa, and this is how it becomes the karma bandha. It is bandhan. You have to enjoy that fruits of papa and punya both. So it becomes that bondage of karma, but only when that doership is you don't own that doership, that you get free from yourself from that bondage. And when you are doing your karma in that way, it is then that you are inviting the grace. When we do with nishkam bhav. Otherwise, if we can see that literal meaning of that, things happening, like we say, he's so lucky, he has achieved this, or but it something behind is there. He has earned that. That is why he is lucky. He is having that grace. So because of his past actions, he's now enjoying the all the good and like all the comfort, you can say, or maybe he's on that state of evolvement, uh, like all the saints and the the learned persons, no? So they have gone through, they have earned, they have directed their actions, lived their life in such a way that they earn that grace of God, and then they receive that guru, then shastra teaching, everything. Yeah, just like I was just reading this grace was I was thinking of two meanings, like literal meaning and then how we ourselves invite the grace by our own actions. Yeah, you can continue, Mrinal.
What is that shloka where it says, give me that Viveka Buddhi? Um,
Yeah, it was there. Actually, all chapters have just jumbled up, you know. It is only repetitions of these that will make the verses stand out in our mind.
no,
I think
not
it,
here.
it, it must
In
be in
general,
the Karma
right?
Yoga, I think. No? Karma
No,
Yoga.
not in
Karma
Bhagavad
chapter.
Gita.
Okay.
In general we say this shloka. Maybe Brahmanaji must be knowing.
Okay. Okay.
Are you meaning Karacharana Kritam va Kayajam Karmajam va Shravana Nayanajam va Manasam va Paradam
Think so. Yes.
Vihitam Vihitam va Sarvametat Kshamasva Jaya Jaya Karunabdhi Shri Mahadeva Shambho. I'm not sure whether this is what you are looking for.
Yeah, because once somebody was explaining, maybe Guruji only was explaining that give me that mind so that clarity of mind so that yeah, must be the same. So much of clarity we are getting by reading this part, right? What is karma and karma yoga? Does
You know,
anyone?
there was a time, yeah, there was a time several years ago that I was confused myself. I said, you know, in mentally, I was asking Gurudev. I said, I don't know what to do, where to go. I'm a little confused because everything seems to be good. Everything is happening. There is, but what is the path? What is the clear path? I need some clarity. So this was the thought process going on in my mind a few years ago, and then all of this happened. So for me, I consider this as Guru's prasada. Him giving that instruction of chanting and reading Bhagavad Gita, at least one shloka every day. And over the years, the last few years, there has been that little bit of clarity. I wouldn't say a lot of clarity, but at least the path is getting clearer. So once we start walking on this path, I think, and the more we are reading and doing manana, that will purify the intellect and that gives us that clarity. Compared to what we were like 4 years back to what it is now, there certainly is more clarity with respect to karma yoga, with respect to sannyasa, with respect to rituals. I remember we used to discuss a lot about rituals and why this and why that. And so that inner clarity has dawned in each one of us. And that will get clearer and clearer. And like Savita ji said, that itself is, see, what China had said was, you have to get that penultimate step of Sarvatma Bhava and then just wait patiently for Ishvara Anugraha. When that knowledge will dawn and when um, that realization happens, that is again dependent on Ishvara's grace. So having faith in that, now, how do we go forward? Grace is something which is really, you cannot really explain what grace is, but it is there. It is that whatever you call it, whether you call it luck factor, something that you don't expect to happen happens, and it happens effortlessly. You call it blessing, you call it luck, you call it whatever. But there, that is where the element of Shraddha needs to be there. An element of Shraddha in the Shastra. This is what Vedanta is saying. So when we proceed on this path with that Shraddha, with that with Shraddha in the mind, that's when Krishna says Shraddhavan labhati jnanam. So actually these few shlokas, I think it's worth repeating it again, because this concept of karma yoga, the concept of jnana yoga, the difference between sannyasa and karma yoga, unless that becomes clear, because otherwise we'll reel again and again in the doubt about between sannyasa and karma. Yeah, anybody else can also share.
And clearly here it says, therefore you invoke the Lord's grace. so that you have everything ready for gaining the knowledge. This is the only way to remove samsara bondage.
Yeah, that is why in our Sankalpa also, it
Hmm.
says, Ish, uh, uh, what is that? Ishvara Prityartham. Shri Parameshwara Prityartham. So even in the Sankalpa, we talk of that. And even when we do our Nitya Karma, Sandhya Vandana also.
Plus, the one which we start our reading is Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunakti. That itself says, right? What is the meaning of this shloka?
It says, let us Sahana Bhunaktu. Let us move together. Let us enjoy together. Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Let us empower one another. It is actually a collective prayer. This is between the teacher and the taught. It's not like the teacher is on a superior pedestal and the teacher, it is a sambhashana. Um, it is like samvada. So it is a mutual thing, so that it takes care of that superiority, inferiority, number one. Second, one is not jealous of the other. So we're moving together in a very beautiful way with the whole intent of learning and empowering one another. Actually, Gurudev explains this very beautifully in one of the Upanishads, I think Kena Upanishad or so. In the beginning, he talks about this Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi, Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Let there be, let the intellect shine. Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Let us not be in conflict with one another. I mean, this is the rough meaning that I remember, but Gurudev has really explained it so very beautifully. Sahana Bhavatu. It is, um, it's a collective prayer between the teacher and the taught, teacher and the student.
Should we stop here? It's almost 6 o'clock.
Yes, Mrinal, you can stop.
Yeah. Loka samastha sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpणमस्तु.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.